Hi, this is Bruce Buffer, your voice of the Octagon, and you're listening to MMA Mental.
Welcome to this week's MMA Mental podcast. My name is Ray. As always, sponsored by UK Fightwear, which you can follow them on Twitter at UKFW, and the UFC Live Facebook page, which you can like on Facebook. Check out our follow podcasts, the MMA podcast and the Word on the Street, and check out the following Facebook pages, MMAmental.com and UFC Games. You can follow us on Twitter as well at MMA Mental. Also, want to let everyone know that I will be stepping to the cage to compete against Stephen Mayer of Almighty Fightwear. We'll be competing in March on Cage Fighter Leeds at Ellen Road, and we'll both be raising money for charity. So check out our Facebook page for more information, and check us out on Twitter as well, so you can see how to support us getting ready for the fights. Okay, we've got a good lineup this week. I'll just read you through the guests, then I'll play the interviews for you. So this week's guests, first up we've got Performance Potentia with Dave Bond. Dave is joined by Cage Warriors fighter Kerry Hughes, as she talks us through biosignature testing and how it is helping her prepare for her Cage Warriors debut. And then we're joined by Mike Rhodes, Mike Biggie Rhodes. Mike is days off winning the RFA Welterweight title. He talked to us about the build-up into the fight itself, and his continuing journey into the UFC. And then it's UK MMA with Your MMA presented by Jay Furness. Jay gives us a breakdown of all the biggest news on the UK scene. Davey Grant, Davey breaks down the latest Tough 18 episode. He talks us through the failed weight cut, the fight between Peggy Morgan and Sarah Moraes, and the process of picking the semi-finals. And then we're joined by Robert Whiteford. Robert talks us through a crazy few weeks and becoming the first Scot to compete in the UFC. And then we're joined by Brad Scot. And Brad talks to us about his move to middleweight and how good it felt to get the big win on his first fight since the Tough Smashes finale. I hope you enjoy listening to those interviews.
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Potentia Performance segment. Speaking now, Dave Bond. I hope everyone's well. This week, after the past few weeks, we've talked about sort of biosignature testing, we've talked about nutrition, we've talked about training, we've talked about phases of training. And I thought now's probably the perfect time to actually try and keep that link going between mixed martial arts and the benefits of how all this strength and conditioning works and nutritional work kind of really benefits mixed martial arts. I thought now might be the perfect time to bring in one of the fighters that we work with to actually speak about how it's benefited her. And the great thing is that she's just had her next professional fight announced on December the 7th at Cage Warriors. And so because of that, we've now started to redo all of our biosignature testing, redo all of our nutritional plans, redo all of our training programs. So without further ado, I'd like to hand you over to Kerry Hughes, professional MMA fighter, fights out BKK Fighters, also does all of her strength and conditioning work out of Potentia Performance, and to go through the benefits that she's felt and that she's gained from having a structured strength and conditioning and nutritional program.
Well, thanks very much for that, Dave. Dave's asked me to talk about how the biosignature testing process, strength and conditioning, relates, from my perspective, to how it takes me through to my fight nights and performing as an MMA athlete. For those of you who don't know, I've recently signed Cage Warriors. I've now been given the date for my debut fight on Cage Warriors 62, which is the 7th of December. So from about 6 weeks out, I've obviously sat down with Dave and Katie and spoken to them about that. We've looked at where I am in terms of my weight, where I am in terms of my cycle of training, and where I need to be when that date rolls round. The first aspect of that was to look at my biosignature. Again, when I'm in fight camp, I have that done regularly, sometimes anything up to weekly, to try and make sure that because you're dropping weight fast and the process you're going through, your body's changing so much and so quickly, so significantly, it's necessary to keep tweaking those hormones because they can make those different, and keep tweaking the various aspects of it. So I had my biosignature done this Wednesday in fact, and that's flagged up for me a few things that I need to be aware of. My weight's fine, my weight's more than on track and exactly where I need it to be, but I'm coming in currently carrying 61.5 kilograms of lean muscle. Bearing in mind I fight at bantamweight, that is 61.5 kilograms. It's really important that we've done this biosignature early, because that's then identified that I am carrying such heavy muscle mass, and some of that's going to need to be stripped away. So it won't this time just be a process of dropping body fat, although there is still, I think I'm sitting above 13% body fat, so there's still plenty of that to play with for now. But part of the adjustments that Katie set to my training program will be that every other day now I'll be doing an hour of light continuous cardio. Nothing too strenuous, nothing that's really going to unduly impact my energy levels and my fitness. But what that will do is encourage my body to start burning off some of the muscle that I'm not using when I'm training MMA. And that will help to bring my weight down as well. The other things that biosignature has highlighted for me as my key areas of concern are my cortisol, insulin and estrogen. And it's been really good for me because I know, for example, that I have a full-time job, it's office-based, it's quite high pressure, and I do operate under a certain level of stress. So now that I'm aware that part of the reason I'm storing body fat is owing to my cortisol levels, that will enable me to take action, take supplements, change my sleep patterns to try and offset that. I've then got the insulin, which is my diet, which is completely what I expected, because up until the beginning of last week, I still had carbs in my diet, and some of those, nothing like wheat, but some of those weren't fully clean carbs. So I will now adjust my diet according to results of biosignature, and one of those is to try and reduce the insulin response. There'll be no artificially sweetened foods, no sugary foods, and very minimal carbs. Those carbs that there are will be really good clean carbs like sweet potato, brown rice, gluten-free oats, things like that, and they'll be in moderation. And that'll encourage my body to start using up the body fat that's there for the energy reserves. The other thing for me, as I say, the estrogen is really easy to fix. I know what I should have been doing, and where I've been off of my training camp, I haven't been doing it. So I'm now back to taking high dosage of zinc. Because I don't want to put on any more muscle mass, I need to strip away muscle mass. The other way that affects my day-to-day training is in my strength conditioning sessions, whereas previously I was looking at 8 reps or more of a good weight to encourage hypertrophy and muscle growth. I now need to move away from that. So I'm not allowed to do any more than 6 reps of anything, but the weights are up as high as they go to try and improve my strength. That's really good for 2 reasons. One is that it gets the large muscle groups working and hopefully burning more fat, and obviously builds strength. But the other thing that does in conjunction with the zinc is that will naturally boost my testosterone levels to try and counteract the fact that obviously women do carry a lot of estrogen sometimes, and that should help to offset that and stop me storing fat in those key areas. For me now, the advantage of seeing Katie when I'm this far out is that I know there's not going to be any panic last minute weight cuts. I'm not going to have to sit in a sauna for hours and things. My weight's already, after 2 days, starting to go in exactly the right direction. My body's having the response that I would have hoped. And for the next 2 weeks, I've been given my eating plan, my supplementation's been changed, just tweaking what I'm already taking. So I'll still continue to take the CLAs to protect the muscle. I'll still continue to take the fat burners to make sure that when I am exercising, I'm optimising that fat burning. But what I won't do anymore is between every set of weights, I'll stop using the branched chain amino acids. Usually when I'm deliberately trying to encourage muscle growth, when I haven't got a fight coming up, between every set I'll take 1 or 2 BCAAs, knowing that that's going to help to fuel the muscles, encourage muscle growth. Obviously I've now stripped them completely out of my diet and supplementation. The protein shakes I use, obviously all my products are from E-Protein, so they sponsor me, and obviously they're very good, otherwise I wouldn't let them sponsor me. the protein shakes I use are going to be carb-free. I use their ultimate whey during this period. They contain some BCAAs, but not enough to be detrimental in terms of muscle growth. But what they do have is L-glutamine within it. Because at the minute, this strength-building phase, I think it's going to be very hard on my body. And so in terms of recovery supplements are going to be the key. Every day I use a lot of glutamine. I just in my drinking water, I continually dose it with glutamine. And that helps my muscles. It won't help bulk up. It's not going to, for the ladies that are worried that picking up some weights and taking muscle protection supplements is going to bulk you up. It won't at all. But what it does stop me doing is ending up with horrible DOMs and achy legs the next day and things like that. It just keeps everything running the way that it should. The supplements that I will start to take during a training camp that I don't usually is just a high dosage B vitamin for energy, because I'm cutting out all the junk that I tend to, and I know I shouldn't, but I tend to use when I'm not got a fight coming up, such as caffeine-based energy drinks, and that's then being replaced with not very much. So B vitamins are really good for helping to boost that. In terms of my diet, obviously I've already mentioned about going low carb. One of the other things that I find absolutely key, because I suffer from flagging energy levels if I'm not careful, because I do like to eat, is that Katie always introduces quite a high amount of nuts and in my diet at this stage. So I'll be eating sort of every hour and a half to 2 hours throughout the day to try and maintain my energy levels at a good pace. But those meals will be really small. One thing I do get for a lot of is like cashew nuts, Brazil nuts and stuff like that, because they're really good for like long-term energy, but also in order to metabolise fats, the things that you don't know when you start out on trying to lose weight. I mean, I used to be well over 100 kilos. I'm now fighting at 60. So this stuff clearly does work. But you see all the adverts and think, oh, fantastic, Weight Watchers, I'll reduce my fat intake and that'll stop me being fat. Actually, many things that Katie's taught me is you do actually need those fats in order for your body to metabolise the dietary fats you're taking in, and also to metabolise your body fat. You can't burn body fat if you're leaving yourself fat-free. So those nuts really help to enhance that. At this stage, to me, this diet's fantastic, because this is the time I feel most energetic, the first 2 to 3 weeks of the fight camp. I'm eating huge amounts of protein on a daily basis. Like 3 or 4 times a day I'll have a significant amount of meat and eggs. I don't eat fish, mainly because I'm allergic to it and don't want to die. But obviously that is really good as well. But on a daily basis I'll have minced beef, steak, chicken, turkey, eggs. So at the minute my energy levels are flying really high, even despite the fact that I've got no carbs. That will, as you get closer to the fight, you're training harder, you're reducing your food intake, and you're tweaking your diet a lot. That will inevitably change. I'm next due to being with Katie, not Wednesday, coming the following Wednesday. Once I'm there, she'll reassess my biosignature. What usually happens at that point is, because my diet's been clean for 2 weeks, my insulin responses have sort of become more modulated, they've relaxed back to where they should be. Other areas all start to be highlighted. They can be various things. Usually with me, a key thing that the biosignature pulls out is my natural growth hormone levels. Obviously your body produces growth hormone naturally, and one of the main ways it does that is sleep, which I don't get enough of. So for me, there's usually a point during my fight camp where growth hormone comes out as one of the sites to be aware of, and I have to start looking at ways that I can try and get more rest, more sleep, more relaxation. It sounds peculiar if you've not done it, but it really does make a difference. If I can get an extra hour of sleep a night, in the last couple of weeks before my fight, my weight comes off 10 times easier, and it stops it being a torturous and laborious process. I do fine, I'm maybe straying off topic slightly here, but that's the advantages of having somebody with that expert knowledge who's able to translate what your body's telling them. For me, all I can see is the figures on the scales, and I'm sure every fighter who listens to this can sympathise with just wanting to stand there and cry and cry and cry because you've barely eaten anything all day, you've been really good, you've not had anything you shouldn't, and your weight's staying exactly the same. What having Katie looking after my nutrition's done for me is, if that happens, I'm able to go to her and say, I've done everything you told me, everything that you said I've done, and nothing's working. She'll then look at the biosignature, and that will tell her quite often that it might be something completely unrelated to my diet that's causing those issues, and that adjusting my supplements, my sleep patterns, my behaviour patterns, or even just something as simple as changing from lifting weights, 20 reps on a maintenance and endurance kind of phase to going 6 reps on a heavy strength phase can completely change the way your body's using the energy that it stores. I'm not going to pretend to fully understand it because I don't, hence somebody else takes care of it for me, but I can't extol the virtues and benefits of the process enough. Where that then links in with Dave, obviously they both work at Potentia Performance and they work very closely together. Dave deals with my strength and conditioning. He constantly liaises with Katie throughout my fight camp, and he will tweak accordingly. For example, last Wednesday our session was directly after I did my biosignature, and there was quite a heavy sort of plyometrics session that he had planned. After he spoke to Katie, he was able to completely rewrite that, because on the basis of the lean muscle mass compared to body weight, the plyometrics would have been counterproductive, and it would cause me to continue to build muscle. It's a good thing and a bad thing, but my body's been quite responsive to building muscle. So for me, it's going to be key to make sure that I strip that down. Additionally, with Dave, he's obviously understands the process a lot, and it's really good for me to be able to get that constant support where if there's something that isn't quite working with the diet, usually Dave can suggest something physical and exercise based that might help to complement the work that Katie's doing with me. So, really, between the nutrition aspect, the supplementation, and the biosignature, I'm very lucky that I haven't really struggled. Since I dropped to 61 from 66, I've actually found cutting weight and making weight easier because I've had the right advice behind me, and it's not a last minute rush and sitting in a sauna covered in cocoa butter collapsed on the floor complaining about it. It's actually pretty much the last week it's tweaking weight rather than trying to drop vast amounts of it. So all I would say is if there's anybody out there who does a big weight cut or wants to control their weight cut a little more, finds it difficult, that there isn't a better way that I can see to do it. It's really nice and scientific, it balances well, it complements you, and the whole thing is everyone's unique, their body, their lifestyle, and the way they react to things. I, possibly because I used to be a massive fat person, I don't, as soon as I have any sort of, dirty carbohydrates, I pile on weight and I bloat out and everything else, my body reacts particularly badly to them. And I know that now, so I know that during fight time I can't just think, I'll have a little cheat meal and I'll have a big bowl of pasta, because that will impact me for the next week. And it's really important that, it's a constant process you constantly refine, the art of cutting weight without impacting performance. But for me, this way of going about it has done absolute wonders for me. I'm maintaining strength, increasing strength, whilst dropping the weight, whereas previously I was finding that I was limp and lifeless and weak and tired. So, I really can't recommend it enough. Yeah, the good thing about having the two of them working together in that sense is that when I have got injuries or problems or I'm flagging, Katie is obviously also a very well qualified trainer, as is Dave, and last fight camp I was finding that I was exhausted, I was carrying so many niggling injuries, and we were able to look at that and say categorically that it wasn't down to my nutrition, it wasn't down to my supplementation. Actually, I was perhaps just overtraining. So Dave was able to strip out one of my strength conditioning sessions and replace that with a recovery session. There's lots of foam rolling, light massage, stretching, and I found that again caused my body weight, body composition to improve because my body wasn't in a state of trauma so much. It was giving itself a chance to heal. What I would say is if you are struggling with any aspects of not just the weight cut, but generally there's lifting weights and then there's mixed martial arts or combat sports. They're two very different things. A strength conditioning coach that knows what they're doing will be able to take picking up heavy shit and convert that into movements and functional strength movements that allow you to improve the way you perform in your sport and allow you to use the strength in a productive way. That I'm very lucky that I have that with my sponsors, but it's all, even before our sponsors, it's always worth consulting with the right people, whether that's, and I know that Dave does Skype consultations, whether that's finding somebody local to you. I can't recommend Dave enough, and I'll continue to do so. I've referred him to numerous people, and absolutely everybody has been happy with the results. The same with Katie. I wouldn't endorse somebody who wasn't really good at what they do, and absolutely everyone who's looked at the biosignature and had the nutrition plans has achieved some really great results. Have a look at it. People can be really sceptical, and I know that, I'm not into the new age stuff, and somebody was trying to talk to me the other day about earthing blankets and all sorts of other weird things, and I'm naturally really cynical. I was the same about the biosignature process at first, but I'm completely prepared to subscribe to the fact that it does work, and without it I would probably be rocking up to the scale 6 kilos too heavy and perhaps just want to try and get rid of the weight. If you do want to know any more, obviously, if you want to talk to me about my experience with it, my Twitter is @AFCAngel. I'm always more than happy to do that. But the real people I would speak to on an expert level is Dave Bond at Potentia Performance. His Twitter is @Dave_B_Potentia, and I think he's on Facebook just as Dave Bond. And you can also search for Potentia Performance. Their Twitter is @Potentia892. Katie Mitchell, if you want to speak to her about the nutrition side of things, her Twitter is @KatieFitness32. Both of them consummate professionals, and all I would say is trust in the process. If somebody had told me a year ago that the way I was going to lose weight would be to increase the amount I was eating by about 3 times, eat 7 times a day instead of once or twice, and pick up loads of heavy stuff and stop running, I'm fairly sure I would have thought you were mental, but it does all work, and I'm definitely happy to testify to that. Thank you so much for having us back, Ray.
Joined by RFA Welterweight champion Mike. Mike, thank you very much for joining us today.
How you doing?
Very well. How did you be introduced to RFA Welterweight champion?
Great, man. It was amazing, took a lot of hard work and dedication to get there, but I'm happy and I'm glad to be RFA Welterweight.
certainly stamped your authority on that promotion. I think you're seen as one of the post boys of the promotion. You fight for the promotion for a bit, and you've had some fights there. Just a little bit about the build of the fight. Of course, you tried a 5-round fight, but you look great 5 rounds. But talk to us a little bit about and the build of the fight.
Yeah, 5 rounds wasn't difficult. Been training with him for a long time. I've been with him now for about 9 months, and ready for his right when I started camp. So I was already gearing up to go 5 rounds, being hit when the training partner when I'm getting ready for that fight. So I was doing the same strength and conditioning with him, which was getting prepared for a 5-round fight. So it was an easy transition in preparing for my 5-round title.
There was a little talk about the stuff that was said on you promote the fight. What was that said onto it, or what did you tweet at him to get him to take it?
Oh, before, right after I got in June, and after Alan Juban would be fighting each other. Just happened to their gold medal titles, Zoolander comment, which I thought was funny. Everybody thought was funny. He took offense to it, so it kind of made him mad, and so he started saying some things in interviews on how he didn't think I was good, just drawing attention off my teammates' names and coaches' names and stuff like that. So I kind of need this skin a little bit, and it played into my hands.
I mean, I think all the fight differently. I like watching Pat Miller's scorecard, and he actually winning every round. You just seem to be involved with the fight. You don't have any danger. The fight seems to be exactly the way you kind of plan to go.
Yeah, I said that. And everyone thought that it was going to be an even fight, both being struggles and whatnot. But they don't realize that I'm a martial artist, that I'm well-rounded, and that he is only a striker that is limited. His hands are very good, and we thought that going into the fight that he was a really kicker, clinch, work was really good and whatnot. But I knew that I could avoid that. I trained with a high-level kickboxing fighter, so I did what I said, but I made the pretty easy, you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, you looked dangerous. You basically made him a fight, and it was for wanted to, you the fight, which is, of course, supposed to. Now you are here now, so there's a now we're going to want to come title, which is not going to be anything to do. What do you take off to get back into?
They only have one show this year. That's November 2nd. That card is pretty full. And, I'm still training. I got back to my conditioning coach today. My body's cleaned up and whatnot. I didn't really do much damage. First show, 2014, late January, I believe. So that's what I'm looking for again, and I really don't care what you give me. I'm hit. I'm that next guy, 170 pounds. He doesn't call for that. Whoever give me, take care of it, and keep making marks in the sport. And obviously, I'm going to the UFC. So anybody that can put in front of me, they're in for waiting me.
I know you think you don't care if you fight next while the champion you're going to fight with the give balls. But on anyone, is there anyone that you can to at the moment being a possible?
Not really, man. Not too much about RFA signed at Welterweight. This is since RFA is going to be held as well. Maybe they'll have a place to fight, and they have a guy who's really good, 170 pounds that women give me a shot to. I really don't talk to them about. I don't care. I figure out, he's just a I get that call.
When you coach that call, we're seeing guys from your big thing getting the call. I mean, let's talk about your crowd. Like it's pretty good for the camp guys at the camp.
I said if you look at my tweet, I said 2013 year of the start, and we made it far. Being in the world, being at 155 pounds, he's got no season still. Time to be their fight next month. We have a world title in our household. From the RFA surgery up, and others for Anthony, we see a U.S. title. And we got seven in the UFC on my chin. We're family, and we're fighting. We're all fighting at a level right now.
Yeah, I was getting but yeah, he's actually a K fighter fighting Vaughan. Just fighting in Anthony Pettis being the world champion. He won that relatively. I mean, everyone was expecting round one, and you did it.
Yeah, no, we didn't even expect it was that, but it's such a great tournament, and he's still everywhere that he would finish the fight and just have one of the best performances of his career, and he's able to, arm Mark Henderson, who and stuff. He had really efficient defense, black belt. So to go out there and be able to even show how good the fighter is on another.
Really soon, lots of talk. Camp member, maybe joining the UFC for the welterweight. Is there much Ben Askren?
Also, man, these beside each other. I feel for my teammates because I feel our coach, they're using my down fire and he best. For him to have one is kind of dumb. I don't let how big of a part of this place, and I feel the athlete be there if I was.
I agree. They come close to the story. Just some good guys, but he's just out everybody. It's absolutely fun.
And there's not a fight besides the top guys in the U.S. that would give Ben Askren problems. Everybody else, they're not on his level. It's pointless, and I go into point, people on his level.
I agree. Well, been an absolute back on the show. Quite a while since last, but I need to get from you. As soon as it's announced to be signed by them, I want to know.
Of course. They take care of that. You got back, and the relationship open, and I'm back on the show.
I always enjoyed having you. Before then, we'll wrap up. I'd like to give you shout outs and family. And I know you're on Facebook as well, so let us know how they can on Twitter.
Yeah, I say thank you to all of my teammates, and I can see family. Rufus, my coach, Cushion, Daniel Whiteford, who made me, Eric, for taking the time, training and down to that fight. RFA, Special Horseman, president of the company, is awesome guy. He is a believer in us, UFC proud. And just want to say thank you, Died, to me for the fight for Coco, next performance, and to my team, my mother, and who wouldn't be the man without her. I love my heart. Say thank you. And follow me on Twitter at Biggie. That's Team OCBIE. On Instagram. You can also follow me on Facebook, Biggie Rhodes fan page. Thank you.
Alright guys, welcome back. This is the second instalment of the UK MMA update with Your MMA, and obviously we're just giving you a whistle-stop tour into what's going on in the world of domestic MMA and with all the domestic fighters. We've had by recent standards, probably a fairly quiet weekend on the domestic scene this weekend. Around the country though, you did have some good events going on. Pain Pit, Jack Marshman managed to get back to winning ways there over TK over Simus Norcus. Obviously Marshman constantly taking on tough fights and tough fighters. Not in his best run of form, so it's good to see him get back to winning ways like that. On that card, Remedios versus Timur Merkanoglu was supposed to headline, but the day before, Remedios had to pull out due to an injury. We all know Lee's a pioneer of the sport and such a veteran, and I'm sure he wouldn't, unless it was absolutely necessary, pull out. So, wish him a speedy recovery, and maybe we'll see him back in the cage. Who knows just now. Up in Bolton, you had full contender 8. Topping that was Lee Chadwick versus Alex Minogue. By all accounts, a real close fight. Minogue, was coming in as a big underdog, but he took it to Chadwick and had some good spells of success over the course of 3 rounds. Though Chadwick nicked it from the judges. He's got that real grinding style. Puts it on people, no pressure. No let up in the pressure. And just maybe too much for Minogue this time, but he showed just how capable he is, especially when you look at Chadwick's win streak that is on at the moment, taking him that close. And I've not seen it just yet, but so many people have been talking about the Chester versus Reese fight. 2 amateur guys fighting for the lightweight title there. I've seen both of these guys fight before, but apparently this was an absolute war. And by a lot of people's standards, they're saying it's probably the best amateur fight they've ever seen. So I'll look forward to checking that one out. I'm sure it'll be online soon. If you stay tuned to yourmma.tv, we'll bring it to you as soon as it's online. Down in Jersey, went a little bit under the radar. Wes Merch took on Alexi Roberts in the main event of Rumble on the Rock. Now they do their own thing down in Jersey. It's a real good show. As I said, does go under the radar quite a lot of the time, but it's a cool show. They've got a great vibe down there, and that was a good main event for him, a big main event. Wes Merch has been out for over a year. Comes back, fights at welterweight, and he looked really good. His hands looked sharp when he was countering. He got his takedown in double quick time, and then as soon as the submission there, choked him with a north-south choke. And we all know Alexi Roberts is no mug, so that's a big win for him. The things we've got to look forward to, what we've got, obviously we've got 2 of our guys fighting in Tough 18. We've got Mike Wotton and Davey Grant, who both looked unreal so far. They've taken on some tough guys and got some big wins. Both in the semi-finals. You've got Wotton taking on Holdsworth and Grant taking on Gutierrez. Neither man have got an easy fight. I think you'll see both of them do well. I'm not sure on the outcomes, obviously. We're not allowed to know that just yet, but the fact that they've got so far already is a testament to just how good they are. If it was an all-British final, that would be crazy. I know these guys are friends, but that would be something off the hook, but I really hope these guys do well. This weekend, shock and awe coming up. The main event down in Portsmouth is Scott Pooley versus Steve McComb. Pooley can really make an impact in that division. He's a good fighter at flyweight, great submissions. I'd like to see him more active if it would be possible, but he's had his injuries and whatnot, but he's at Gym 01 now with a great team, and I think you'll see him do quite a lot. Lots of good Gym 01 guys on that card in some really competitive matchups, so that's worth checking out if you're in the area. Other than that, it's a quiet weekend coming up. We've just had the UFC, and obviously, that's been talked about to death. The rumours are abound of UFC in London. There's people saying this and that, but as soon as we've got the news, you'll find it on Your MMA. So if you stay tuned to us on Twitter at Your MMA and on Facebook, then you'll find all the news updates on there as well. Other than that, you've got a lot of big cards to round out the year. You had quite a lot of announcements coming through from Cage Warriors for Cage Warriors 62 coming up in December. Sadly, Brum versus Johns for the title will be off that card because Johns has got himself an injury. But there's so many great fights. Neil Seary, defending his flyweight belt against Ulysses Gomez, and you've got so many other good fights put on that card. It's going to be a stacked card, and it looks like it could be one of the domestic cards of the year, the way it's panning out so far. But again, we'll keep you updated. Don't want to keep it too long, so nice brief update for you this time. I'm Jay Furness. You can follow me on Twitter at Jay Furness MMA, and this was Your MMA UK MMA update. Until next week, peace out. Take it easy.
Okay, I'm now joined by Davey Grant. Davey's back. We had a week off last week, of course, because there was no tough episode. It was just a recap episode. But Davey's back to break down the latest episode of Tough 18, which is episode 9. Davey, thanks for coming back on the show.
Yeah, no problem, mate.
And it was really nice to get to meet you and shake your hand in Manchester as well.
Yeah, likewise, really nice to meet you.
Okay, let's get on to the episode then. At the start of the episode, there was a lot of focus on Cody Bollinger. What was your relationship like with Cody?
I got on really well with Cody. He was a pretty cool lad. Seemed really down to earth, nice and honest, genuine person. And I made friends with him.
What were your thoughts on his failed attempt at making weight?
Obviously, I was a bit gutted for him. He's come down to he's gone on the show to try and make a better life for his family and stuff. So I can really relate to that. And but I think he tried hard enough. I know that looking at him, he was still walking and talking when he gave up. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes when you couldn't wait, you get to the point where you can't really properly, your hearing goes, you struggle to walk and things like that. And he didn't really have any of that. To be honest, I think I have a tougher time making weight than that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I would never ever quit like that. So I think he quit a bit early. I don't know if he just, I don't know what happened to him. Just got the better of him. I think he did a few things wrong during the week as well. To cutting away, I think he could have done things a bit differently, a bit better, and obviously ate better when he was in the house. So it was disappointing for him, but at the end of the day, he knows he's messed up and he took the blame on his toes, which I respect.
Yeah. My next question was going to be, were you surprised he quit the way he did?
I thought he had I thought he would have pushed a little bit harder than that. I know I would have done. If I'd have been at that point where I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to make it here, I'd have thought, mate, one last blast, I'd have just sort of got in the sauna and just hit the bike. Do you know what I mean? In the sauna and just give everything I possibly had. I don't think I could have given up like that. I think I would have had a lot more or less. To be honest, and he was, like I say, he was still walking and talking normally, and I think he had a bit more to give.
Ronda was quite vocal, putting the blame on opposing coach Misha Tate. Do you think it was Tate's fault, or as an athlete, is Bollinger responsible for his failed attempt?
I think Bollinger's really responsible for it at the end of the day. You know what I mean? He can't keep tabs on 24/7. He didn't know what he was eating the nights and things like that. He was a bit of a sucker for ice cream, Cody. He was always having ice cream on the night, and I was like, you gotta watch what you're doing, man. And he was pretty confident he was going to make the way to the wrestler. He's made weight loads of times, and obviously you can't keep a track on him all the time. So I think Mitch could have maybe should have been watching his weight a bit more closely. But I know he was lying about his weight sometimes as well to Mitch and them, so maybe he didn't know the full story.
Now, when Dana was talking to Cody in the gym, how awkward was that?
It was pretty awkward, yeah, because obviously, he was at school getting told off by the principal or something, you know. Dana's the big man on the dressing room when he won shouting and feeling like that in front of you, and you knew he was pissed off, you know what I mean? So it was a bit of an awkward situation, obviously, worse for Cody. But and it was like you seeing one of the lads go as well. It was a bit devastating. And that's just the game.
I think. I've watched a lot of the season. I've watched all the seasons of Ultimate Fighter, and when Dana gets going, he is such a scary guy. When he's giving someone a dressing down, he's so full on, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's like getting told off like offside master at school or your dad or something like that. You know what I mean? He's a really powerful man.
Literally watched him reduce fully grown men who get in a cage and fight for a living. I've watched him reduce them to tears. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Now, Anthony Gutierrez was given an option of passing through to the semis or fighting Chris Beale. What were your thoughts on his decision, and what would you have chosen?
Well, to be honest, I mean, Anthony just pushed his ass to get to weight. I didn't blame him, to be honest. It wasn't his fault. And I mean, I can't remember which day it was what he cut the weight on, and had to make weight again. But like to get yourself that far down and then bring yourself back up and then go back down again. Do you know what I mean? Would have been a pretty tough task. I would have thought. So I can't really blame him. So I mean, obviously you want to win in the easiest way possible, and he did all the hard work. I didn't think it was his fault. So I don't really blame him. I thought, oh well, he's got himself a free pass, fair dues. You know what I mean? It wasn't his fault, and I don't think he should have been punished for it. And because I could have possibly said if the next weight cut never went to him, or he lost energy in the fight, I mean, he was getting punished because Cody never made weight. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. I think I don't blame him at all.
I agree with you as well. I mean, at the end of the day, without trying to sound ruthless, this is a competition. If you get a chance to save damage and get through to the next round, so he's now one fight away from the finale, he's got to take that. And I'm not a fighter, but I would have taken that option personally. Yeah, I mean, I probably would have done myself. You know what I mean? I've got 2 kids at home. That's a hell of a lot more important than my pride. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't think he's lost any face doing that either. I think he's made the smart choice. He is going to just kill his body going through 2 weight cuts so close together. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not sure, it might have been on the Friday or the Thursday that he made weight, so he would have to make weight again on the Sunday. So, I don't know. I don't know what I would have done, but I don't blame him at all. Okay, now in the other fight, your teammate fighting was Peggy Morgan. What was your relationship like with Peggy? Yeah, I got on really well with Peggy. She's a cool girl. We used to have good chats in the van. We were supposed to sit on the back seat together most times. And she's a really nice, that's a really clever girl. She's not one who you think would be a fighter. You know what I mean? And she was really intelligent. And we had a lot to talk about because you've got a son who's relatively the same age as one of mine as well. So yeah, I got on really well with her. Now, it's fair to say the fight was pretty one-sided. Sarah Moraes' ground game was just way too much for Peggy. What were your views on the fight? Sorry? What were your views on the fight? Yeah, I mean, obviously I was rooting for Peggy, but Sarah come on, she did really well. She like a few heavy leg kicks and stuff. Peggy never really got going with her hands, didn't really find the distance. I felt as if Sarah was getting to the punch just as much as Peggy, and with Peggy being so rangy, she should have been like picking her off really, long shots and then move away and then nice long shots again. But Sarah was just she was good that day. She got a really good takedown, and the jiu-jitsu looked really, really good, and the ground and pound was vicious. So you can't take anything away from her. She did really well to win that fight. Now I felt, I mean, we've obviously at the stage of the competition now, excluding the fights to get into the house, we've had 4 female fights. I felt this was the least competitive. Would you agree? Yeah, probably. It was probably the most one-sided of the female fights, possibly. Now, all the semi-finalists were called into the room. Both Michael and Chris wanted to fight Anthony. Chris said that you and him in the final would be a good fight. Were you surprised to hear him say that? Yeah, I mean, I suppose so. I don't know. I was really thinking about it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was nice to hear. Now, you said you'd fight anyone. How pleased were you not to get Michael? Yeah, well, what he missed off on the show was actually when they never showed the bit. As me and Mike went in and said, look, I don't want to fight. I said, look, I'm not bothered who it is. I said, but I don't want to fight Mike. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then I was like, oh, it's my buddy, we've trained together and stuff. I said, you know what I mean? I just didn't want to fight him. And he was saying, so who do you think's the weakest guy? I said, look, I don't really mind. Do you know what I mean? I said, I think they all bring something different to the table. And obviously I think I could beat them, but I just didn't want to fight Mike. And that's what he missed out. And so in the end, Mike went in after me, and Mike said the exact same thing. And Mike said, look, I just don't want to fight Davey, but I'd rather fight Anthony. You know what I mean? So they missed that off. I was a bit good they missed that off, because it showed that me and Mike were really loyal to each other. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We were trying to make it better for ourselves. But obviously, Dana's the big man at the end of the day. He makes decisions. But he was pretty cool about it. I mean, he said to Mike,
he actually said to Mike when Mike went in, he said, who do you think's the weakest? He said, I don't know, but I don't want to fight Davey. And then Dana said, well, that's funny because Davey said he wanted to fight you. And then Mike went, did he? And he said, nah, but he working, yeah. So I thought he would have showed that. That would have been pretty funny.
Yeah, I think they kind of rushed through that segment. I think they spent too much time on the weight cut. They should have shown. They normally show a bit more of the going into the room, but I think because of the they do the fantasy site now, they want the people to pick the fights next week. They have to kind of cram it in at the end of the episode. So that was a bit of a shame, really. Now I felt that Dana does this every year. He does the seeds. He seeds them from 1 to 4. He'll put 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3. Now what I was looking at, I felt that you were seeded as number 1 and Anthony was seeded as number 4. How did it feel to be thought of so highly by Dana?
Oh, I mean, that would be pretty great. You know what I mean? If that's the way that he was looking at it, yeah, it would be nice to be. You know what I mean? He's a man who you want to impress at the end of the day. So yeah, I would take it as a feather in my cap. Yeah,
that was definitely the vibe that I picked up. Was that I felt that he'd see you as 1, Chris as 2, Michael as 3, and then Anthony as 4. That was just my view. Now for the women fights, he put the 2 grapplers together, which is Juliana and Sarah, and they definitely see Juliana as number 1, and the 2 strikers together, which is Raquel and Jessica, and I think they see Raquel as number 2, Sarah 3, and Jessica 4. So what were your views on? At that stage of the competition, excluding the elimination fights, I know you didn't see them. At the quarterfinals, which woman had impressed you the most at that stage of the competition?
To be honest, I thought Juliana really impressed with the fight with Shayna. Everyone thought that Shayna was going to beat her, so Juliana really impressed us. And then Jessica came out and she was awesome. Do you know what I mean? She got the knockout. She looked really well. She came out, Raquel, and she had a war. You know, so they all impressed us. But I'm going to say Jessica because I really, really got on with her and I really liked her.
Okay. Well, it's been, as always, it's been great to get you back on to break down the latest episode. Next week, you'll be back to break down episode 10 and the first semi-final, which is between Chris Holdsworth and the Brit Michael Wooten.
Yeah.
Now, before we let you go...
I'm rooting for Wooten.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Wooten as well. And as always, before we let you go, you want to do any shout-outs? Friends, family, sponsors? Because I know you've got a great support network behind you.
Yeah, I mean, everyone who's helped us out and follow me training and stuff, me training partners and that, they all know who they are from the various different gyms. Just like I thank all of them this week. And my sponsors, Jeff Dobson, Mark Here, Grant's Gym, The Biltong Man, and my new sponsor, Bad Boy, as well. Bad Boy stepped up and they're going to sponsor us as well now. That was really nice of them.
That's because of all the hard work you're putting in.
Yeah, it's all right.
Well, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure getting you back on the show.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Ray.
Okay, I'm now joined by Robert Whiteford. Robert stepped up at the weekend to take on a short notice fight against Jimmy Hettis. Robert, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, no worries, man.
You made history at the weekend. You were the first Scottishman or Scottish athlete to compete in the UFC. What was that like?
It was absolutely amazing, but I knew from day one. I told people that since I started MMA I would be in the UFC, and whether I was the first Scottish man in the UFC or not, I told them I was going to make history. If you watch some of my documentaries at some of my fights and stuff, I told the camera guys, listen, I'm going to make history, whether it's tonight or at some point I'll be making history, and I've done it, so I'm pretty happy at that. But to represent Scotland as a nation and the first guy in the UFC was a special occasion.
Absolutely. Now, I know it was a short notice fight. Talk us through how it all came about, how when you were approached and how it all kind of played out.
Yeah, well, it was basically, I've been in the UFC radar for a wee while now. I came very close to getting on Tough to Smashes, the series for that. I was first reserve for that show, and when somebody got injured, the alternative took the second reserve, so I was pretty disappointed at that, but the UFC told me this is just sometimes the way it goes. And regarding my weight class, every division in the UFC is stacked right now, so it was just a matter of time before I got my chance. The UFC kind of told me to try and be ready. The most likely event would be a short notice fight. So when the UFC Manchester card was announced, they approached them. Well, they approached my manager about getting on the card, sending in my details, like my CV and stuff, like what was my record, blah blah blah. And then they got back saying, listen, the card's full, but would you mind being a replacement for anybody if they get injured? I would never turn that chance down. But regarding a week to go, I thought my chance is up here. Surely nobody's going to get injured in a week to go. Nobody's going to be that stupid enough to do anything serious. But the injury Mike Wilkinson suffered was a torn hamstring, so I don't think that could be labelled down to him. So I got the call on late Friday night after I'd actually finished sparring, asking if I could fill in. So I jumped at the chance, and it was a mad rush getting medicals, stuff done. I still had my MRI tests from the tough Smashy series that the UFC put me through, so I didn't have to go through an MRI scan. I just had to get like eye tests, blood tests, stuff like that. So it was a mad rush. So I went in, I had like 5 days basically to get ready for it, and I suppose the rest is history, you can say.
How much weight did you have to cut in the 5 days?
8 kilo.
Oh, that's a hell of a cut, isn't it? What? And obviously, if you'd have had more preparation going into that final week, how much weight would you have had to cut?
3 to 4 kilo.
Gee whiz, so you had to do twice around. Now, I know you took the fight on short notice. Would you have took a fight on short notice at lightweight as well then? Would you have done either of those weight classes?
I actually approached him when one of the lightweight fights, our Quinta fight, his opponent got injured, and that was like 3 to 4 weeks out, I think. And I told him I'd take that fight, but they already had the Polish guy picked up for that fight, so I would have took the lightweight fight as well. Would have been probably a bit easier weight cut, but I'm actually glad now, because when I seen the size of Quinta down there, I was glad I never took the lightweight fight. He's absolutely massive.
Yeah, they cut. I mean, he would have cut a lot of weight to get down to 155, and he's probably fighting at a good 20 pounds heavier. So going obviously then into the featherweight bout, I mean, you'd obviously cut a lot of weight. How did you feel going into the fight?
I knew it was going to be tough. You know, you take a fight in a week's notice. Never mind the fitness side of the weight cut and just the overall level of competition. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but it's an opportunity you can't turn down. You know.
Oh, of course not. I mean, you don't know if it's going to come along again. You've got to snap your hand off when it's there, haven't you?
Exactly. So I got a 4-fight contract out of the UFC for it, and they told me, Mike, they appreciated me helping them out and stuff, and they would take care of me. So I always knew there was going to be a deal on the table anyway. So I couldn't afford to turn the fight down, basically. So
just to confirm, there, you got a 4-fight deal off the back of the fight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, what was it like as well? Because I mean, I met a couple of guys, journalists from Scotland, and they were so excited and so enthusiastic about you and your fight, more so than any other fight on the card. So, what was it like what was the support like from Scotland? And I mean, the crowd went mad when you come out as well. What was all that like? What was it like to experience?
Oh, it was absolutely amazing. It's probably the best experience I've had in my life, and I'll always cherish that. I'll take it with me to my grave. It was absolutely amazing, and not just the Scottish support. I mean, there was a lot travelling down. I think maybe I got 100 odd to travel down in the short of a week, which is fantastic. You know, it's hard enough to make it down a week, never mind 100 odd supporters. So it was tremendous, and the support I was getting for the British, it wasn't just the Scottish ones. You know, the full British support was behind me. So it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I was there as well. I was in the crowd, and the arena, the atmosphere in the arena for any time a UK fighter came out, it was fantastic, wasn't it?
Priceless, absolutely priceless, man.
So what did you think to the event as a whole then? Did you get to see many of the other fights or not really, because you were just focusing on what you were doing?
No, I was second fight out, so after my fight, I managed to basically sit down. I actually went up and sat in the stands with a lot of my friends, and I watched the rest of the fights up there, even though I was advised not to. I kind of stuck a cameo on and sneaked out. So I watched it for the stands, and I thought that event was amazing. The crowd was great, the atmosphere was great. You know, that it was just an overall great experience.
With regards to your fight then, and with the way the fight finished, was there no way you were going to tap? You were going out and that was it?
Oh, listen, I wouldn't tap ever. I wouldn't do myself injustice with tapping. I wouldn't do my fans and my supporters an injustice with tapping. If you're ever going to beat me in a fight, you're going to need to put me to sleep with a choke or knock me out. Basically, there's no way I'm going to surrender. I'd go out in my shield.
To be fair, the choke was on really, really quick, wasn't it? I mean, because you can sometimes be in a triangle choke for quite a while, but he got it on really quick, didn't he?
It was very slick the way he put it on. You know, I've been in that position a million times in training and stuff, and I control a lot of people for that position. Even if I was fit, you know, the way he put the choke on, it was very slick. I'll take my hats off to him. I never seen it coming, and maybe I could have been in the choke a little longer if I was fitter, you know. But my gas was running out at that point already. I knew I had to kind of try to knock Jimmy Hettis out. I knew I wasn't be fit enough basically to go 15-minute hard rounds, you know.
Yeah. Now, after the fight as well, when he was interviewed, he was very respectful of you and he spoke very highly of you, and you know, especially for taking the fight on a short notice. Did you get to meet him at all? What? And if you did, what was he like?
Yeah, he came in after the fight into the changing rooms and just thanked me again for the fight, and basically said you hit like a train man, and there's no way I was standing up for you. Like he'd said he'd been working his boxing for like since his last fight and stuff. He says, but there was no chance he was going to trade with me once he felt what was hitting him with.
Yeah, he certainly comes across as being a very respectful fighter as well. So it's nice to hear that he was like that. He came across like that in the cage after the fight as well. So what happens with your neck? What happens with your next then? I mean, how long of a layoff would you like, or will you have before you fight again?
I'm not really sure up to the UFC when they want me to fight. But the thoughts I think is next year. At some point, I don't think I'll be back out this year, so I think it's next year. Hopefully, a London card.
Gonna say, would you like to be, after experiencing the UK fans, if you like? I mean, you've obviously experienced UK fans before, but after experiencing the UK fans on a UFC card, would you like to be on the London card?
Of course, I would. The UFC fans in general, because when I was in the crowd as well, it wasn't just the UK fans. There were a lot of supporters for other countries as well, and I was taken aback actually. The support for the fans from everybody, every nationality, from the minute I got to the hotel to the arena and stuff, just the support for the fans was absolutely amazing.
What was it like being in the hotel then? Because I've experienced that as well, as a fan being there, you know, interacting with all the fighters. What was it like there for you being there as a fighter, interacting with the other fighters, interacting with the fans, interacting with the media? What was that all like? Because I know you've obviously fought before, but it's on a different scale, isn't it, compared to being in the UFC?
Yeah, it's basically the fans that make the difference, you know. I was in the hotel with the fighters, and if you ask any other fighter that's a true fighter, it doesn't matter who the other fighter is, you just see them as another fighter, you know. It could be Kerry Hughes or John Jones in there. I would just speak to them the exact same, treat them the same way as I would to anybody else, because I don't really see them as different as such, as I'm just like a fighter myself. But the fans, is what takes you back, you know, because there were guys camping out in the hotel basically since I got there on the Tuesday to the Sunday and I went home, and every day they were wanting pictures, they were wanting autographs, you know. It's just really surreal basically. Did
you like that?
Loved it, absolutely loved it. It makes you feel like a star.
Yeah. And you'll have it again shortly. Hopefully you'll get on the Wembley card then, because that would be great. I mean, it looks like they're gonna, you know, put some of the big UK fighters on. Hopefully you'll be able to get on there as well and experience that again with the not like say not just the UK fans, but the international fans that come in as well.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. When is that card? Is that March?
Yeah, March the 8th, I believe, off the top of my head. So yeah, 5 months away, which that will come round pretty quick.
Yeah, it will definitely.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and having a chat with me. It was great to see you getting there and compete at the weekend, and I'm so pleased to hear that you've got a 4-fight deal as well, and so we'll get to see you again. But before we let you go, I just want to give you a chance to do any shout-outs. I want to thank any friends, family, sponsors, and also let people know about your Facebook and your Twitter.
Yeah, it's just my teammates basically, and my manager from Manos Management, who made it possible. They're
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you giving me your time, and I look forward to following you in the UFC and getting you back on the show again in future.
Yeah, excellent. Look forward to a full fight camp next time, and I'll be able to start cracking skulls again. Be able to push the pace for 15 minutes.
I'm now joined by Bradley Scott, who's coming off a huge victory from UFC Manchester. Brad, thank you very much for joining us.
That's fine, Ray. My pleasure, mate. My pleasure.
Congratulations. What a fight.
Well, thanks very much. I was very impressed with the result myself. Shocked and impressed.
Yeah, you didn't. I mean, I'd spoke to you before. You see, you weren't as confident maybe as what some other fighters are going into fights that I've spoken to in the past. But I mean, you look great. You look like you look like you've always belonged at middleweight.
Oh, thank you. Originally, I was middleweight when I was younger. You see, anything about the cutting, and that was the only time that was decided when I figured it out of cutweight. 77.
I mean, you look
Before
really.
that, I was always a middleweight.
Yeah, you look really strong as well. I mean, because Michael Kiper's known for his judo and his strength, but I mean, even when he never, even when you were clinching, I know you said before you weren't supposed to clinch with him. You said it when you were interviewed by Joe Rogan, but you clinched with him and you always look comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working with Jordan Johnson, who's he was on the Iowa Hawkeyes team for the Iowa State University, I think it was called. Going with someone he's about 230 pounds, 235 pounds. So he had, a good 30 pounds on me anyway. So I was going with him. Oh, don't get me wrong, I wasn't really holding my own that much, but as I was used to someone so strong and so skilled, Michael didn't actually feel, because everyone was telling me, before the fight, watch out, Michael Kiper's brutal here, there, everyone was doubting me. All the predictions on YouTube were saying that I was going to get walked over. But when I actually got in there, it was nothing like that. He didn't feel strong at all, really.
Do you think a lot of people ruled you out because you'd made the move from welterweight up to middleweight, which, like we said, me and you said before, it's an unusual move, especially coming off the Ultimate Fighter. I think you're the first person to do it, go up in weight class. Do you think a lot of people doubted you for that?
Well, yeah, but a lot of people, they see me on TV, they see me weigh in and stuff, and they think, oh yeah, you're a welterweight, you're a welterweight. But when they actually see me in real life stand next to me, they're like, oh shit, you are pretty big. Do you know what I mean? And I was definitely bigger built than Machida, Martin Nunes, and I was bigger than they were. I was definitely bigger. So you can imagine how, I spend half my camp worried about making weight rather than training. Whereas this camp, I could eat pretty much what I want and train hard and actually learn to fight, which made a huge difference, I thought. I improved massively as a fighter.
You look like a completely different fighter from the guy that we saw in the Tough House, and you were good in the house, but you'd certainly looked a lot better now. How much weight did you have to cut for this fight?
I did in 24 hours, 14 pounds.
And that was you had no problems doing that. That was okay.
Oh, piece of piss. Compared to what I used to do, piece of piss.
So going forward, then, are you obviously gonna stay at middleweight now? This is your home.
Yeah, I'm going to work on my strength and conditioning now. I'm going to, I want to lean up a little bit, which I should have done. I was so worried, busy about, I wasn't really that bothered with diet last time. I was so worried about just learning to fight while I was out in the States, because the level's, really high out there.
Yeah.
I didn't really focus on diet so much, but this time I'll eat a little bit cleaner, and I'm going to do a bit more strength and conditioning, and try and, put some lean muscle on, become a bit more explosive. Because I focused a lot on cardio, because my original plan was to keep it long, keep away, and as soon as he clinched, I'd stick to him like glue, so he could do the throw. So that's why that's why when I did clinch with Kiper, that was it. There was no breaking. It was skin tight, it stopped him from using his hips. And before that, I was using my jab cross. I wasn't going for hooks or anything. I didn't want to let him close the distance, because me and my coaches, despite not looking so good in my last few fights with hands, my hands are deceivingly good, and I catch a lot of people out. And we were, I thought I was going to outstrike him quite comfortably, and I thought he was going to engage in a clinch or try and shoot.
Yeah, I mean, you did look comfortable in the striking, but when you clinched, you looked comfortable as well. He just never was able to grasp you look stronger than him. To be fair, that's the best way I can put it. The kind of submission you got as well, it was I think it was called a front choke. We don't often see that move in the UFC. Tell us how that came about. Did you see the move? What made you go for such an unusual finish?
Well, it's only unusual if you don't train it. I think I go for it all the time. I catch loads of people with it. I originally learned to me that I went to do a training. I was at Trojan Free Fighters and I met someone called Jay Furness. Don't know if you're familiar with Jay Furness.
Yeah.
He fought on Batman stuff, really good guy. And I rolled with him and he caught me in that choke. And I thought, fuck, what the hell was that? And he showed me the escape as well, straight away obviously. Didn't get caught in again. It was horrible. And he done exactly the way I'd done it. He put me against the fence. And I felt like it was inescapable. I thought, what the hell is that? And a lot of people don't see it very often. They get caught with it. I didn't clear basically when he made a mistake, he ended up on his front. I got the head and arm, and I forgot to block the arm, circle to the back. So I went for the butt drag, the circle to the back, and he put his arm back. And then when I realised my hand was deep under his chin, I thought, I'll give it a go, just to see if it works. If not, I just push him to the side and throw a kick or throw a punch. And then I realised that he'd actually not been familiar with it. So I readjusted, put his head on my chest, and sat straight through. It was a 10-finger guillotine.
Yeah.
And then when I pushed it through, I felt his Adam's apple pop in. I thought, yeah, this is going to be quick. And then he tapped straight away.
I mean, if you're going to set out a fight of how you want a fight to go, I don't think it could have gone any more perfect than the way the fight went for you. I mean, how pleasing was it for you to get the win over such a, he's a highly thought of opponent, and you beat him, without trying to be disrespectful to Michael Kuiper, you beat him with relative ease.
Yeah, I didn't get hit, did I?
No.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? It's the first fight I've ever had where I've not been hit.
What was the crowd like in Manchester?
Oh, mate. It was amazing. That's the first time I've had a big crowd on my side. So it was amazing. It was almost brought a tear to my eye. It was fantastic hearing everyone cheered. I thought I had one of the biggest cheers of the whole night as well. Apart from Ross and Jimmy, I thought I had one of the biggest cheers.
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky enough to be K-side for the fight, and I was off my chair screaming, but just because of the nature of the win, because it was so quick and you made it look so easy, and of course it never is easy.
I've never been in an easy fight, but there again, I think and not only that, what makes it worse, I think what made it better for me, because I had so much respect for Mike Kuiper. I had so much, everyone was down me, everyone was telling me day in, day out about how strong he was, about how he got to be careful of both hands, and how he's got knockout power, how his kicks are savage. I mean, he kicked me in the leg, and it was fuck all. Like when he kicked the leg, it was like, wow, I've got nothing to worry about that. I don't think I'd even check the next one. It wasn't like he turned his leg over and tried going for like a proper decent tie kick like the Dutchman would do. He turned the whole body over.
Yeah.
He sort of slapped it on, and I thought, wow, I've lost respect for your kicks now. Now I just want to fire some more punches in your face. But I kept smothering my own work, which is what was pissing me off. I was landing. I was definitely better with the strikes, 100%. And I reckon if I managed to keep my game plan, the original game plan, and keep it range, I reckon I'd have knocked them out, 100%.
You definitely had the edge, and when you were clinching at the time before you got the choke, I was thinking that why are you clinching? Because you're beating him in the you look so much bigger than him. You were beating him with the reach, with like you say, with the striking, and I was because I was obviously rooting for you. I was worried he might do one of his throws. I mean, he threw Tom Lawler around like a rag doll, and Tom Lawler's got a strong wrestling base, but he just couldn't.
Tom Lawler's a beast.
Yeah, but he just couldn't get anywhere near you at all. So what did you do to celebrate? Did you go out on the night?
Oh, of course. Instantly, yeah. It was a very good night, put it that way. I'm very impressed. I mean,
go on, carry on.
I was going to say, with the Tom Lawler thing, I watched that fight many times, and me, John Crouch, Joe Riggs, and a few others we knew that he was going to go for that throw, and to catch someone as good as Tom Lawler with it, 2 or 3 times, I knew he was going to be good at it. So I've done a lot of drilling specifically, because the rules were in training, if we were to get clinch, we had to be on the fence. We didn't want him to risk. That's why straight away, if you look, I thought I rocked him, right? I landed an uppercut. I dropped down to pretend to grab the leg, threw an uppercut, and then left it. And then when we clinched, immediately I ran to the fence with him. I don't know if you remember seeing that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I mean, every time you clinch, you're up against the fence.
Every time he was trying to turn his hips. And I knew he was going for a throw, and I know he was like a 2-time state champ or something.
Yeah.
Or national champ, sorry, not American. Of getting in judo, so I really didn't want him to use his hips. So I drove him, like, I've actually drilled to put one leg between his legs to stop it. And the whole time I was there, I could see him always going for that same throw. And that's why I was so reluctant to break away. So I'm not normally, I'm not a born fighter by any means. Normally, I do like to break away and strike, but I was so worried he was going to catch me in the throw and end up on the bottom. I was panicking a little bit. But I think that's just down to an experience. I think if I fought, I think I'd beat him 9 times out of 10 if we fought.
Yeah, I
think
absolutely
the
agree.
8 times it'd be KO.
I agree. I mean, he didn't really, like you say, he threw the one leg kick, but I couldn't tell that, but you said it didn't feel as bad as what you thought it was going to feel. He didn't have anything with the striking, and he couldn't get anywhere near throwing you. I mean, I think he managed to get you off balance once for a split second.
Yeah,
but
he put me down, but he I don't know what it was, but I've been training with like Jordan and stuff and all these top wrestlers. As soon as you're done, I have to get up straight away. But he didn't put any pressure on me. I was used to being crushed down at 100 miles an hour and fighting for my life to get back up. With Kuiper, he didn't put any pressure on me. He just let me stand straight back up. And then I tried running the pipe and fucked it up. And then I tried pulling them out and catching the far leg and I fucked that up. We managed to end up getting back again. And then we ended up breaking. And then that's when I closed him down with strikes. And then he made a bit of a silly mistake. He tried going for some an overhook and trapped the leg to drop throw. But I circled round at the same time and he face planted. And when he gave me the neck.
Yeah. So how long will you take out now before you get back in? Would you like to be back in for the Wembley card in March?
I would like to be back in for the Wembley card, yeah. I'm going to start doing my strength and conditioning this week. Because I didn't take any damage, I've not been signed off or anything, I will start doing some conditioning training this week. I will start doing some weights. I want to do some more plyometric stuff. I think that was the biggest thing in America. I think that made a big difference. I was a lot more explosive in this fight than ever before. Even at a heavy weight, I think I was faster in this fight than my last 3 fights. Yeah,
I mean, this going on your fights in the house and on the finale, this is definitely your best fight, and by far your toughest opponent as well. Especially I think a lot of eyes were on you because you'd made a bold move, if you like, by going from welterweight up to middleweight. So a lot of eyes were on you. I think you're under a lot of pressure, but you sailed through. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, in my hometown, in one of the betting shops, I was 9-1 underdog.
That's ridiculous.
Which is like, I've never ever seen that before. I think they made a big mistake at the bookies. I've never ever seen that before on a fighter. And so I was like, fucking hell, he must really think I'm going to get killed.
9-1.
Then everyone was telling me, it was 9-1, and then the other one was 9-4. Because my mum went to the 9-4 one, put loads of money down on me, and she gave me the winnings because she's lovely. Yeah. And then some of the people where I used to work went down on the other one and put it on there and got a lot of money back.
Fantastic.
Then you put 20 quid on, but they're getting a wedge back.
Yeah, 9-1's ridiculous on one fight.
Well, I've never seen that before.
No, that is really high. That must have been a mistake, surely, because I knew Mike Kuiper was the favourite, but I wouldn't have put you down as a 9-1 underdog. That's just crazy.
Well, that's what I'd expect from Billy Chris Whiteman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 9-1. That's more like it.
Have you got any ideas, or have you got your eye on anybody who you'd like to fight next?
No, not really. I don't really care whoever they give me. I'm not really fast. You know, I'm not fast anyway. I wasn't fast. As soon as they gave me Mike Kuiper, obviously your heart starts racing and stuff. I checked his record out. It was 12-2. Now 12-3. Sorry, Bert. It was 12-2, and I checked out when he fought Tom Lawler. I thought, Tom Lawler, I mean, how did he get on against him? Because, he's a really well-respected opponent. He lost by guillotine in the second round, but I had him winning until that point. Yeah,
I was at that event as well. That was in Sweden. Yeah, definitely, he was winning the fight. I mean, he ragdolled him in the first round, but then he just made a sloppy mistake and got caught.
Yeah, and I noticed, and I was worried about getting caught. I watched them. I couldn't really find much footage on him. I mean, I contacted the UFC, and they sent me loads of video footage of him, and I watched it, and he was a scary-looking guy to watch. But obviously, and then what I did is I watched fights myself back, and I thought, well, actually, if I was fighting myself, I'd be quite intimidated. Yeah. Because I do throw hard, but like training with Joe Riggs and all of that lot, really top experienced guys, it massively gave me a confidence boost. And I knew for a fact he wasn't training with guys as good as what I was.
No, funnily enough, actually, I interviewed one of the guys that you were training with. It was Alliance MMA, is that right?
No, I didn't go to Alliance, no, in the end. I went to MMA Lab.
MMA Lab, sorry, yeah. I remember MMA Lab, and I spoke to one of the guys actually. I think he said he roomed with you, or he trained with you. He told me to call you a puff.
Puff.
Yeah.
That's right. Who was that? Scott Holtzman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking wanker. Yeah, Scott. He's lovely. He's awesome. He's going to be in the UFC soon. He's going to be a big deal as well.
Yeah, I watched his...
He's going to be a big deal in the UFC. He's a monster.
I've had him on the show a few times.
Takes it to Benson. Straight out. Takes it to Benson all the time.
Yeah, I've had him on the show a few times because I work with XFC as well, and I watched his last fight against Roger Carroll. He just dominated him, didn't he? He just smashed him for 5 rounds. It was so one-sided, it was untrue.
Oh, he's a beast. He's phenomenal. I said to you, he's going to take it to everyone in that division.
Yeah.
I don't care. He's got good. For someone who's not a wrestler, he's got fantastic wrestling, awesome toe boxing, good hands, very good at jiu-jitsu. He's really well-rounded. I really rate him. He will be in the UFC soon, 100%. No ifs or buts. And he's going to shock people.
Well, I think the one that...
People athlete.
I think you were one of the ones that shocked people at the weekend just gone anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone, like I said, everyone thought I was going to lose. I don't know, I don't care what people say. I get that all the time. I always get people doubt me and stuff, and I've been the underdog for all my fights in my entire career, I think. Every time I fight, I'm an underdog. I don't even know how it works. Even when I'm not betting, I'm seen as the underdog. You know what I mean? Some of the early fights and stuff. It's because I don't know what it is, though. I don't know why people think I'm so bad all the time. But, well, all that, well, they think that the opponent's always too much for me. You should have seen some of the predictions on YouTube. They were even giving me, not even surviving the first round.
You've shown them all up though. You did what you had to do. You've kept your mouth shut and you've got in there and you've worked hard and you've trained for the fight and you've proved them all wrong. I mean, everyone was predicting a one-sided fight. It was a one-sided fight. I mean, Michael Kuiper was never ever in that fight. Like you said, you were beating him with a striking, and you beat him easy. The submission you set it up nicely and you got it very very quickly.
It was an aggressive. It hurts like fuck as well, that submission.
Even Joe Rogan was impressed.
I know, he's like my favourite guy as well. Chucked in the end. Like, whoa, Joe Rogan, no big deal. Boom.
Awesome,
He's one of my favourite guys, and I like the idea. Like, I could hear him commentating as well, which is like sort of spurred me on and stuff. I mean, I'm not a fan of being against the fence and stuff, but I know like Dana isn't like, and I wanted to impress everyone. I mean, I always look for the finish, but I've been so disappointed in my last few fights. I mean, where I couldn't finish a fucking sandwich. So, like, I was so impressed. I hate not finishing people.
Yeah.
But as the level gets higher, they get harder to finish.
Absolutely.
You don't get, like, when I first started fighting, people would give me submissions when I had their back and stuff because they get punched. I mean, they'd give me their neck or, they'd put themselves in a triangle. It's ridiculous that. They would give up. Or instead of being TK'd, they would cover up to get taken down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They give in. It doesn't happen at the high level. They don't just give in. You have to actually finish him nowadays. It makes a huge difference. Like Xavier and I dropped him, I started pounding him, and then he just come back to life. He was never given up. Same as Ben Alloway.
Yeah.
I tried my hardest to break his will to live. He just kept going. He never gave up once.
That was a really tough fight with Ben Alloway, wasn't it?
I think a lot of that was down to my weight cut. I messed up that. I kept messing up my weight cuts and that, even with like the great help I had off Dean Amundsen. It basically saved my life. I wouldn't have got to the final if it wasn't for Dean from doing all the weight cuts.
Yeah.
I think that's why I needed to go up. Because I was a big guy. I mean, I'm just, like I said, everyone thinks I'm small until they stand next to me or they grapple me and they think, fucking hell, actually, you're a pretty big, strong dude.
You look big compared to Kuiper as well, and he's never fought lower than middleweight that I'm aware of.
He should be a welterweight, I think.
He did look tiny towards you, but I've seen him in there with other guys, and he hasn't looked so small. So you are, like you say, you're just a big middleweight.
Everyone always says, "Oh no, you're a small middleweight. You're a small middleweight." I'm not. I swear to you, I'm not. When I actually stand next to you, they're like, "Wow." I think it's because I don't look big and muscly. I think everyone assumes, "Oh, he's not actually, big." But when I actually stand next to someone, I'm normally the same size, if not a bit bigger. I mean, Charles Sonnen dwarfed me, like. Charles Sonnen was fucking huge.
Yeah.
He was like fucking a heavyweight. He was fucking massive. He was huge. He was much thicker built than me. But like Mark Moraes and Machida, they weren't bigger than me. They're a lot more athletic than me. That's why I've got to work on my conditioning. But they weren't bigger than me at all.
Did you get to mix with these types of guys over the week?
Yeah, they're such nice guys. Jean-Luc Barnett as well. He's lovely. I wasn't too sure about him when I first saw him, but now I've met him.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. A lovely guy. Got a lot of respect for him. Andrew Craig as well was bigger than Andrew Craig.
Yeah.
They were all such nice guys. Everyone at the event is so nice.
Yeah.
No one's nasty. No one's like big-headed. Everyone's so down to earth. I mean, I'm quite a nice guy anyway. I get along with everyone. I mean, I have a laugh and a joke, I have banter and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, recently in interviews, I've been winding up Leroy Barnes and that. But we've been tweeting on Twitter now. He's sound, nice guy.
So overall, then, was your first obviously UFC fight after the Ultimate Fighter? Of course, you fought on the tough equivalent of the finale. What was the overall week then? What was it like, the whole UFC experience, going in and fighting and obviously getting the win?
Oh, I was shitting my pants. I was nervous as fuck. I don't know. I started getting like a lot of self-doubt on that in the last week. It wasn't until I got in there, and it's the same as every fight I have. Like the whole week before, I think, oh, why do I do this? Oh, I hope my opponent gets an injury and has to pull out and all this. And you get all down. Things start going through your head. And then as soon as I get in there and the and the referee says go, all of that goes out the window, and it's kill mode sets in. And I just look to finish my opponent.
Well, you certainly proved where you belong this weekend. Anyway, it was always going to be a huge test, but you've passed it with flying colours. So, from me and from MMA Mental, congratulations! It was brilliant.
Oh, thanks very much, dude. Thanks very much.
And it was a great way to kick off the event as well. I was literally bouncing in my chair. I was so excited.
Yeah, I was so impressed with the crowd response. Like I said, I thought I had one of the biggest cheers of the whole night. I couldn't believe it. I was chuffed to bits. I didn't. You never think, oh yeah, they're going to like me. They're not going to like me. But I must have come across really well in the smashes to get such a cheer.
Oh yeah,
I think the way I fight gets a lot of attention as well. I never give up, and I always I always press forward. I like to fight. I don't give a fuck about getting hit. Although I should do. I should stop relying on my chin. You know what I mean? It's not good. My face is slowly, being deteriorated. It's starting to look uglier and uglier. That's why I grew a beard, to get the attractiveness back.
People love a finish as well. People love to, no one wants to see a fight go the distance. Even when it's exciting, you still want the drama of either the knockout or the submission, especially when you don't see it coming. And your submission was from such an unusual angle. I know you said you've worked a lot on training, but you don't see it a lot at the highest level. And obviously, you've put it on really quick, and before you knew it, he was tapping.
Oh yeah, it hurts. Put my dad on it earlier, I don't know what it feels like. He was savage.
Well,
he was savage, yeah. He's like, oh, what did you do? He looked like he just twisted his neck. Like, come here, man. Come here, Dad. I mean, he tapped me instantly before I even put my hips through, let alone drive into the fence.
Jeez.
I mean, at one point, Kuiper was out, and I thought, oh, I'm going to fucking smash him when he turns his head now. You know what I mean? I was going to throw a bomb. I was going to throw his head to the side and just throw everything I had into a bomb and try and KO him. And I was all like hyped up as well because I got in a good position. I would have threw 5, 6, 7 punches in a row. And then all of a sudden, he sort of let go of my hand, let go of the hand control, and then just let me put it back on his neck. It was almost like he sort of give up, or he just made a really silly mistake. It's almost like he give up and then just put it back under. I squared up, and then I dropped my hips and I just pulled with everything I could.
Yeah.
I know, like a 200 kilo deadlift pull. I was going for the finish. I could feel his throat, completely crushing. And next time, every tap.
Yeah, I mean, he from you describing it, he did tap pretty quickly, but I could understand why.
It hurt like hell. It's not so, especially when I had it deep. I could feel his, I could feel his Adam's apple being crushed. It was a horrible move. It's not a choke. It's not it's not a sleeper. It just stops you from breathing and actually crashes your windpipe. I felt terrible after the fight when I realised that there was a chance he was going to be cut. And then my girlfriend told me that he was crying and said he was such a nice guy. I felt terrible. Do you know what I mean? Because I remember when I lost my fight, I lost to Eugene Fabiola and Robert Whittaker. I mean, Robert didn't finish me, and I thought I could have beat Rob. But Eugene, when he actually finished me, I was devastated. I was crying my eyes out for hours. Didn't go out or anything. I was devastated, and I felt terrible knowing that I'd done that to someone. But I suppose if it was the other way around,
it's the nature of the beast, isn't it?
You would have done it to me. So.
And let's be fair, as harsh as it sounds, if it's going to come down to one of you being cut, you've got to go in there and make sure that your job's safe. That's what you've worked hard for to get where you are.
Yeah, I know. The the money's not good as it is. You don't want to get paid half. I mean, you need to go for the win, otherwise you're not going to get fuck all.
Absolutely. Yeah, but you got what you deserved. You deserved that win. You put all the hard work in. You proved all the doubters wrong. You came out and you controlled the fight. You were never in danger. And then when the time came, when you had the opportunity to finish, you finished it.
I mean, I think if I didn't get the submission, I think the fight was. I was getting more and more confident. And when I get confident, I get more aggressive. I think the fight would have got really bad. My fitness was insane for this fight. There was no. I could hear him getting short of breath. Because one of the things we realised, he wasn't the fittest guy in the world. Like when we watched his fight tonight, he didn't look like a cardio king. So, apart from the Rob Whiteford fight, my cardio is normally one of my biggest strengths.
Yeah.
I never ever worry about gassing. I think a lot of it's just mental, and I was going to lay it on him horrifically in round 2 and 3. I'd have had all my range sorted. I'd have been landing bombs, body shots. I reckon I would have. If I didn't get the choke, I reckon it would have been horrific for him.
I think.
I wish I didn't now.
I think as well. I spoke to a couple of guys that fought on that card in Australia, and I know Colin Fletcher had problems with the travelling and the just yeah.
I felt awful in the ring.
Yeah.
I felt so fatigued and tired before I even got in there.
I remember you saying, and it did show. I mean, you won round 2 in that fight as well, and you just obviously couldn't finish strong in the 3rd round.
I think I should have won round 1. I wasn't dropped. I tripped. I know I tripped because I remember I remember falling. I mean, if I got dropped, I wouldn't have remembered it.
Yeah.
I went down. I thought otherwise, I think the judges scored that because the crowd was so loud as a knockdown. Otherwise, when I watch it back, I mean, everyone I've shown it to with the sound off all think I clearly won the round. So I thought I thought I'd lost the fight on the day, but when I watch it back, I thought that maybe I could have. Maybe if that was in England, I reckon I would have. I really did, and I think I wouldn't have gassed. I would have put the pressure on him like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
In the last round if it was in the UK, yeah. I fight with intended pressure.
You've obviously shown as well that 185 is where you need to be. If the 170 is going to take from your game, what is your strength? Look, your cardio and your pressure. And if you're feeling tired after a cut, you're not going to be able to do that, are you?
I was borderline thinking of killing myself in some of the cuts I had. I'm such a pussy when it comes to cutting weight. I mean, I think 14 pounds is fine. I don't need to cut any more than 40 pounds. It's still not very nice, but you're not dying. You're not laying in bed with ice packs on your face, thinking about never eating bad food again. Like this camp, I picked what I want within reason. I wasn't a dick, and I improved massively training with all these guys. When I first got to MMA Lab, I could not get up. They were taking me down all the time, and I'd get up once in a blue moon. Towards the end, I was getting up almost every time. I was imposing my will on people a bit more. I was landing good strikes. I was doing all right.
Right, it's paid off. This is. I mean, I spoke to you, of course, in the build-up, and this is where you wanted to be. You wanted to come out. You wanted to get an impressive win, and that's what you've done. And you've shown everyone that you not only do you belong in the UFC, but you belong at middleweight in the UFC.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the biggest thing I was worried about because everyone was telling me that I should stick to 170, Norman Park, and all that lot. And then even John Crouch started. They were all saying I should cut to 170. But I watched the weigh-in of me making 170 the other day. It's gone down. It's on YouTube. It's called the greatest weigh-in ever, and it's got Colin Fletcher in it. And I walked out, and I honestly looked like I was, an AIDS victim. I was all drawn in. My eyes were sunk straight into my face. My arms looked terrible. Then I looked at my weigh-in against obviously Michael Kuiper, and I thought I looked good. I thought I looked in good shape. I wasn't really dehydrated. I still looked quite like a thick build. And I was like, maybe this is the weight for me.
Well, if at the end of the day you've proved it, you've gone in there and won. You just need to obviously keep that momentum going, and hopefully we'll see you on the card at Wembley. 5 months. I'm guessing 5 months will be. Would you want to get back in before 5 months, or 5 months enough?
Oh, what, for much? Enough. It's plenty enough. I want to make sure that I improve. I don't like to fight too regularly, so I want to make sure I'm better for each fight.
Yeah.
Although 10 months was a fucking joke, but I had an injury. But 5 months for me, that's good. I just want to make sure I definitely improve. I want to make sure that I add 20% of my game. I want to make sure I'm as fit and as well as possible before I fight. And I really want to fight in England again, so it was amazing.
I was going to say, would you like to be fighting it? England's definitely where you want to fight again, because I mean the crowd was behind you, wasn't it?
Being away. So I know you get to travel the world and shit, but I'm English. I like fighting in England. I like the idea of having English people support me. I like the idea of being, I'm quite patriotic anyway. I like the idea of other English people, looking at me as well representing their country.
I think it's great because what you tend to get with the English fans is they get behind all of their fighters, all of the UK fighters. I mean, whether it be Norman Park who's Irish, or Rab that was Scottish. We get behind all of the guys that are in there representing the UK. The crowd gets behind them. It's brilliant.
Yeah, 100%. It's amazing. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Well, I come out to a song not many of the people knew anyway. It was like a bit of a West Country bumpkin song. I mean, and they all get up clapping. And when I actually got into the ring, the octagon, and I put my hand out, I couldn't believe the cheer I got. And same as when Bruce Buffer announced my name, it gave me goosebumps. And after I won the fight, I mean, I never celebrate that normally, but when I heard the cheer, I was like, gum shield in the crowd straight away. I was buzzing. I couldn't believe it. I was shaking for hours after that.
It must have been such
I couldn't believe it. I almost cried. I was buzzing.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, the atmosphere was absolutely electric. But to be the centre of that atmosphere, it must have been. I mean, it was electric for me being part of it and being one of the ones that was screaming at you. But to be centre of it and have it all on you, it must have been unbelievable.
No, it was amazing. Before I even walked out, I was in the tunnel and Michael Hyde was still walking. I had people screaming my name then, just looking at me, come on, Brad, smash his fucking face and all this crap. It was amazing. I could just egg me on to take him out. And the fact, he was playing mind games to me and stuff, he was hitting the pads as hard and as fast as he could before he walked out.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way. He must have been clapping him or something. No way he could have been that fast. He made Mayweather look slow, do you know what I mean? So I reckon they're playing little mind games. I didn't fall for that shit.
It backfired anyway. Well,
yeah, I didn't fall for that shit.
Well, well done. It was fantastic, like I've already said. Well done on the win.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Before we let you go, I know there's a lot of people that have to get ready for the fight. I know you've got sponsors. If anyone you want to shout out, friends, family, sponsors, and let the fans know about your Facebook and your Twitter as well.
Oh yeah, obviously I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I think my Instagram is Bradley Scott MMA. Obviously, just put my name in for the other two. I'd like to thank all my sponsors, Calfing for supplements, Bad Boy, Funky Gums, they've done my gum shield, Sweet Sweat, Armour Guard, the wash, the soap.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fantastic. That was awesome. So, what's it called? Armour Wash. That was fantastic. I used that in my entire camp. Everyone else who's helped me as well, fantastic. All my coaches, Dragon Slayer, Mark Kent for kickboxing, Salvatore, who else? Tom Cresington, Stu Pike, Andy Cochran, they're my corner men. Dragon Slayer, then obviously the MMA lab team as well. Benson, Joe Riggs, Jordan Johnson, Scott Holtzman, Ishmael Aoki, all of them. I am all 100% for the win. It was fantastic.
Well, thank you very much for giving me your time today. It's been a real pleasure having you back on the show. I look forward to getting you on again in the future.
Yeah, anytime, mate,
Hope you enjoyed those interviews. We had some really good guests on this week. So next week, definitely confirmed. Davey Grant will be back again to break down the first semi-final, which of course will feature the UK fighter competing to get into the final. Hopefully, we'll get to see Mike Wooten make it to the final, one and all UK final, and he'll be fighting against Chris Holdsworth. And then we'll also have Dave Bond back with his segment. And UFC middleweight coming off a fight of the night performance. Luke Barnett will be back will be on the show as well. Haven't had him on for a while to give us a catch up, talk us through his winning performance and his fight of the night performance. So thank you very much for listening.